So today's video is about having a healthy relationship with food when you have Crohn's disease. When I was diagnosed back in 2013, I obviously was very restricted on what I could eat, but I was also very hopeless on what I could eat in the future. So after a lot of soul searching and figuring out what is best for my body, I have some advice for those that are currently being diagnosed or are still struggling to have a healthy relationship with food. So first, it's important to say that I'm not a nutritionist, so I will not be giving any nutritional advice. And it's also important to remember that the majority of Instagram models are not nutritionists either. Delicious as avocado toast is, it's not the cure to your well-being. It's important to remember that food does not define you. Food is not supposed to fulfill you as who you are as a person. You should not be eating iceberg lettuce every single day just to avoid gaining weight from being on prednisone. That's not what your body needs to sustain itself, and you're probably not happy doing it. I understand that with Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, it's really just a guessing game on what you can eat and what you can't eat, and that kind of gave me some paranoia when trying new food, and then also feeling kind of depressed and not being happy with what I was eating. Because if you think about it, the majority of your day revolves around food. What are you gonna have for breakfast? You have your lunch break at work, and then you have dinner. And having those moments every single day of panic and just not being happy with what you're eating and not being happy with how you're feeling is not really mentally fair to yourself. And so I have a few tips to change that mindset when it comes to eating. So step one, define your definition of health. Is it defined by your weight? Is it defined by your ability to lift things? Or is it defined by how your favorite pair of jeans fit you? How you can play with your dogs or have the energy and endurance to keep up with your kid? Ask yourself, what exactly do you want out of your life? For me, I live in Colorado, and I want to have the energy and strength to hike. I want to be able to run around the park with some dogs. I want to be able to be fit and healthy. I also am more focused on my ability to do things and not really how I look when I'm doing them. Step two, give yourself permission to enjoy food. Food should taste good. It shouldn't be bland. It shouldn't be gross. Food should taste good. And I think that when you're first being diagnosed, you're on a fiber-free diet, which is kind of bland. And I know that every once in a while you should go back to that, depending on however your Crohn's is doing. But something that you can do to spice things up a little bit is get ground spices. Instead of cooking with actual spices, you're getting ground up spices, and if you are very concerned about the flavor, go to a spice shop where there's experts there that will be able to give you advice on flavors that you might enjoy and also the intensity of the spices so you can control what you're cooking with. And when I mean give permission to enjoy food, it isn't to have fried junk food every day, because we know better than that now. But if you want Chick-fil-A every once in a while, go for it, if you know that you aren't going to regret it 3 hours later. Also, even though I probably should be dairy-free, I love ice cream. So every once in a while, I'm gonna have a bowl of ice cream and I won't regret it. Step three, keep a food journal and track the time that you eat and the time that you are experiencing symptoms. And step four is actually listen to your body. At the end of the day, we can all get caught up with ourselves and try to keep with a certain food plan or eat whatever we're craving. However, if we know our body is not going to be happy with that, we need to listen to our body. So after you've done the food journal for a week or two, you can see that, you know, when you eat this certain food, or if you eat this grain and you have these symptoms, then you probably shouldn't be eating that. For example, I no longer eat pasta, and I'm not sure if it's because of the gluten, but I just feel very sick whenever I eat pasta. I also know that whenever I eat anything past 7 p.m., I am very sick throughout the night because I'm laying down, and I'm also sick the next morning. So I try to have my last meal or my last snack before 7 p.m. and that will give my body enough time to digest before I lay down. Step 5, do your own research. If you can see that your normal eating pattern aligns with a certain plan of eating, then try to look more into that. For example, if you don't eat red meat or if you really struggle with dairy, then look at some vegan options. Just go to Pinterest and there's plenty of recipes for you to experiment with. For me, I align more with paleo, where I don't really eat processed foods or many grains. I kind of just eat meat and vegetables, so I stick to more of a paleo diet, except for my bowl of ice cream. I can't give that up though. And if you're finding that really nothing is working out for you, try two things for only a short period of time. One of the things that I recommend is that if you're in a flare, either do juices or smoothies. That way the fiber within the vegetables have already been ground up, and so it's easier to digest and you're still getting the nutrients that your body needs. I don't recommend having every meal as a smoothie, and I don't recommend doing this for a long period of time, but remember, go to your doctor and discuss this with them. The second piece of advice that I think is good for resetting your body and trying to figure out what you should actually eat is doing the AIP diet. AIP stands for autoimmune protocol. This diet essentially believes in cutting back as much as you can for about 30 days and then slowly adding things week by week. And I think that's a really smart thing to do when everything is upsetting you. It might just be a small factor within your food. For example, eggs are in a lot of products, even if it doesn't seem like it would be. So if you're eating a Cliff Bar, or if there's eggs in it and you're allergic to eggs and you don't know it, you're going to be very sick about it. Her protocol is very strict, and so when you're adding things in, it's one at a time. So you might find out that you are allergic to almonds, but not to walnuts. I tried to do the AIP diet for a week and I felt very good doing it. However, I never kept with it. So maybe I should do a whole month dedicated to that, and I could film that if that's something you guys are interested in. Just let me know in the comments if that is something that interests you, of kind of resetting your diet and figuring out what is best for you. Just go to Amazon and type in AIP diet book. There's going to be plenty of books on it, and then if you go to Pinterest, there's going to be plenty of recipes. I think having a healthy relationship with food is the most difficult thing that I've had to work with since having Crohn's. Of course I had like surgery and all these medications didn't work, but at the end of the day, Crohn's is going to be with me forever, and obviously I need to eat. And so being scared of eating was a burden that felt too heavy, and I kind of decided I didn't want to do it anymore. I hope these tips helped at all. I think the most difficult part with Crohn's disease is changing your mindset with food, because yes, you're going to have issues with medication and you might have surgery, but at the end of the day, Crohn's will be there for the rest of your life, and you gotta eat. And I think food is something that you should enjoy, and it's something that always brings friends and families together. I think allowing myself to enjoy food was the most difficult part ever since being diagnosed with Crohn's, because whenever I went out with my friends, I would feel very paranoid or ashamed in whatever I was eating. But now that I understand what I can and cannot eat for the most part, and I kind of align more with the paleo lifestyle, it makes going out to restaurants and eating a lot easier, because that's just my mindset now. My health is being in remission and being able to hike and being able to chase dogs and being able to continuously have fun with my friends. I hope that your definition of health aligns something more with that instead of your pant size. I will have a video about weight and body image coming up eventually, but I hope that this video helps with all of the food struggles. And if you guys have any other tips, please leave them in the comments below. Remember that we are never alone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.